What if the love you share with your pet creates a bond so strong it defies death itself? Shi Heng Yi remembers the day his dog Charlie died. The silence in his home was deafening. His empty bed in the corner of the living room, his untouched water bowl, the leash hanging on the wall, each a painful reminder of his absence. In those moments of grief, amid tears and memories, a question surfaced that he suspects many pet owners have asked. Where is he now? Do animals have souls? Will Shi Heng Yi ever see Charlie again? These questions aren't merely the sentimental musings of a grieving pet owner. They touch on profound inquiries about consciousness, the afterlife, and what makes a soul. Ever wondered if your furry friend is still with you? Like this video and share your pet story below to join the journey. As someone who has researched various perspectives for years, Shi Heng Yi found that the question of animal souls reveals much about how we understand our own nature. Throughout history, humans have formed deep emotional bonds with animals. Archaeological evidence suggests that these relationships date back at least 14,000 years, when dogs were first domesticated. These weren't merely practical arrangements, they were connections that transformed both species. Today, over 85% of pet owners consider their animals to be family members, not property. When these beloved companions pass away, the grief can be as intense as losing a human loved one. The renowned American mystic Edgar Cayce, who performed thousands of psychic readings while in a trance state, offered a fascinating perspective on this topic. According to Edgar, animals do indeed possess a form of soul, though different from human souls. He suggested that animal consciousness continues after death, and that the love between humans and animals creates bonds that persist beyond physical life. Edgar's readings described group souls for animals rather than individual souls, yet he maintained that beloved pets often develop individualized consciousness through their relationship with humans. When we look into the eyes of our animal companions, many of us sense something profound, a consciousness, a presence, an awareness that seems to transcend mere instinct. Science increasingly supports this intuition. Studies have documented self-awareness in elephants, problem-solving in corvids, and emotional intelligence in numerous species. Neuroscientists have found that many animals possess the neural structures associated with emotional processing and consciousness in humans. But does this consciousness constitute a soul? The answer depends largely on how we define soul. The grief we experience when losing an animal companion often prompts these deeper questions. It's not merely sentimentality, it's a recognition that something significant has been lost, something that seems to extend beyond flesh and biology. The bond we share with animals often feels meaningful, a corridor to deeper understanding about love, compassion, and connection. As Shi Heng Yi looked through old photos of Charlie after his passing, his playful puppy days, their hikes through autumn forests, his patient companionship during Shi Heng Yi's darkest hours, he couldn't help but feel that their relationship had meaningful dimensions. The unconditional love, the wordless understanding, the mutual growth, these seem to point to something enduring. In the chapters that follow, we'll explore scientific insights into animal consciousness and consider the possibility of reunion with our beloved pets in whatever awaits beyond this life. While definitive answers may elude us, the journey itself, like the relationships we share with our animal companions, holds profound value. Is there something about Charlie's essence that continues? Are the bonds we forge with animals preserved somehow in the fabric of existence? Let's continue our exploration together with both open minds and open hearts. As Shi Heng Yi continued his journey to understand what happens to our beloved animals after they die, he found himself drawn to the fundamental question: do animals have souls? This isn't merely an academic inquiry for him, it's deeply personal. When he lost Charlie, he wasn't just mourning a pet. He was grieving the loss of a presence, a consciousness, a being that had touched his life in profound ways. Throughout human history, cultures have offered varying perspectives on animal souls. Ancient Egyptian civilization revered certain animals, mummifying beloved cats and dedicating elaborate burial rituals to certain creatures. Some traditions have long emphasized the meaningful nature of animals, viewing them as teachers and guides with souls as valid as human ones. The concept of what constitutes a soul varies widely across perspectives. In some views, the soul is defined by rationality, self-awareness, and moral agency, qualities traditionally attributed exclusively to humans. Yet, as our understanding of animal cognition expands, these boundaries have blurred. Elephants recognize themselves in mirrors, demonstrating self-awareness. Crows fashion tools, showing problem-solving intelligence. Dolphins call each other by name, exhibiting social cognition. Apes learn sign language, bridging communication gaps. These capacities suggest that the traditional dividing lines between human and animal consciousness may be more permeable than previously thought. The scientific evidence for animal consciousness continues to mount. Neuroscientists have documented that many animals possess the neural structures associated with emotions and subjective experience in humans. Studies of animal behavior reveal complex social structures, emotional attachments, and even rudimentary cultural practices in some species. While science cannot directly address the existence of souls, it increasingly confirms that many animals possess rich inner lives, consciousness that seems to transcend mere biological function. Shi Heng Yi recalls reading about the perspective of Edgar Cayce on animal souls. His psychic readings, though controversial, offered a nuanced view that animals do possess a form of soul energy that continues after death. According to his readings, while animal consciousness differs from human consciousness, the relationship between humans and animals creates energetic bonds that persist beyond physical life. This resonated with Shi Heng Yi's own experience of Charlie, the feeling that their connection transcended the merely physical. Perhaps what makes the question of animal souls so challenging is that it forces us to confront our own understanding of what a soul is. If we define soul as the capacity for love, for connection, for joy and suffering, for memory and anticipation, then the evidence for animal souls becomes compelling. Anyone who has witnessed a dog's grief at losing an owner, or an elephant's mourning ritual for deceased herd members, or even the apparent joy of a bird in flight, might find it difficult to deny these beings some ascendancy form of consciousness, like a field of information that interfaces with the brain but isn't produced by it. If true, this would explain how consciousness could continue after brain function ceases. During his investigation, Shi Heng Yi spoke with Thomas, a physics professor, who experienced what he described as contact from his deceased wife. Being scientifically minded, he initially dismissed his experiences as grief-induced hallucinations. But then she communicated specific information about where to find important documents, information I couldn't possibly have known, he explained. That's when I realized we might need new models to understand consciousness and its continuity. The most compelling evidence, however, comes from children who report past life memories. Dr. Jim Tucker at the University of Virginia has documented over 2,500 cases of young children with detailed memories of previous lives. Many provide verifiable details about deceased individuals they couldn't have known through normal means, including obscure personal information, cause of death, and even where valuable items were hidden. What surprised Shi Heng Yi was learning how these various perspectives and scientific explorations align with what Edgar Cayce once described during his readings. He spoke of the afterlife as consisting of various vibrational states or dimensions, with consciousness continuing its journey through these planes. The dead, according to his readings, maintain awareness of loved ones through bonds of affection that transcend physical death. But their primary focus shifts to their own evolution. As Shi Heng Yi sat with his grief over Charlie, he began to realize that the question of whether animals have souls is not just about what happens to them after death. It's about recognizing their inherent dignity and worth during life. It's about acknowledging that the bond between humans and animals has meaningful dimensions, that in our relationships with animals, something profound is at work. The more Shi Heng Yi investigated, the more he came to believe that consciousness, that mysterious inner light that makes a being not just alive but aware, does not simply extinguish like a blown candle at death. The energy, the essence of what made Charlie who he was, seemed too significant to simply disappear from existence. The question of whether animals have a place in an afterlife has fascinated thinkers throughout time. As Shi Heng Yi continued his search for understanding after Charlie's death, he found himself drawn to examining what various perspectives say about animals in the afterlife. Some accounts offer intriguing glimpses that suggest animals may indeed have a place in plans for eternity. When researching this topic, Shi Heng Yi came across discussions of Edgar Cayce's perspectives. His reading suggested that animals, particularly those who have formed strong bonds with humans, can indeed persist in afterlife realms. According to these accounts, the love between humans and animals creates connections that transcend physical death. As Shi Heng Yi stood in his quiet living room, staring at Charlie's empty bed, the weight of his absence pressed against his heart like a stone. The familiar jingle of a collar no longer echoed through the house, yet in that stillness, Shi Heng Yi felt a flicker of something enduring, a sense that the love they shared hadn't vanished but had transformed into something beyond the physical. The journey to understand whether animals have souls, sparked by Charlie's death, has taken him through a tapestry of human experiences, scientific insights, and philosophical questions. It's a journey that has reshaped how he views life, loss, and the bonds that define us. The question of whether Charlie's essence persists isn't just about the afterlife. It's about recognizing the profound impact of love and connection in the here and now. Reflecting on the stories and evidence he uncovered, Shi Heng Yi is struck by the universal longing to believe that the bonds we form with our animal companions endure. From ancient rituals honoring animals to modern studies revealing their complex inner lives, there's a shared thread, the recognition that animals are more than mere biology. The love Shi Heng Yi felt for Charlie, the joy of their hikes through autumn forests, the comfort of his presence during sleepless nights, feels too significant to simply dissolve. He recalls a moment shared by a friend at a pet loss support group. "When my cat passed, I swore I felt her curl up beside me one last time." That story, like countless others, suggests that the connection we share with our pets might linger in ways we can't fully explain. For Shi Heng Yi, these accounts aren't just anecdotes, they're glimpses into a deeper truth about the power of love to transcend boundaries. This exploration has taught Shi Heng Yi that the question of animal souls is as much about how we live as it is about what happens after death. The grief he felt for Charlie wasn't just sorrow, it was a testament to the depth of their bond. Science may not yet confirm the existence of souls, but it has shown that animals possess rich emotional lives. Elephants mourning their kin, dogs grieving their owners, birds celebrating flight. These discoveries have shifted his perspective, urging him to see animals not as lesser beings, but as partners in the dance of existence. The lesson is clear: the love we share with our pets is a profound force, one that shapes who we are and how we move through the world. Shi Heng Yi now understands that honoring Charlie means carrying forward the joy and compassion he brought into his life. One of the most powerful insights Shi Heng Yi has gained is that love doesn't require certainty to be meaningful. The mystery of what happens after death, whether Charlie's consciousness persists in some form, doesn't diminish the reality of their connection. He recalls a conversation with a neuroscientist who said, "We don't yet know the full extent of consciousness, but the bonds we form with animals change us at a fundamental level." This resonates deeply. The moments when Shi Heng Yi felt Charlie's presence, a song on the radio, a fleeting sense of warmth, may be the mind's way of holding on to love, or they may be something more. Either way, they've taught him to embrace the possibility that love creates connections that endure beyond what we can see or measure. This journey has also inspired Shi Heng Yi to live more intentionally. If the bonds we form with our pets are part of a larger web of connection, then every act of kindness, every moment of presence matters. He thinks of a woman he met who, after losing her dog, began volunteering at an animal shelter. "It's how I keep his spirit alive," she said. Her words struck a chord, reminding Shi Heng Yi that love is an active force, one that grows through the choices we make. He started small rituals, planting a tree in Charlie's memory, sharing stories of their adventures with friends, to keep that love alive. These acts aren't about clinging to the past, but about weaving Charlie's essence into the present, a way to honor the profound impact he had. The possibility that our pet's consciousness might persist invites us to consider how we live in the light of that hope. Shi Heng Yi asks himself, "If Charlie could see me now, what would I want him to know about how I've carried on?" This question has become a guiding star, pushing him to live with greater authenticity, to cherish the connections he has, and to extend the same unconditional love Charlie offered him. The awareness that life is fleeting makes each moment with loved ones, human or animal, more precious. Yet the hope that love endures offers a counterbalance, a sense that what we build together is never truly lost. As Shi Heng Yi concludes this exploration, he's reminded of a simple truth shared at a pet loss support group. If love makes a soul, then animals surely have them. This perspective doesn't demand answers about the afterlife. It celebrates the reality of the present. The love he shared with Charlie changed him, teaching him resilience, compassion, and the courage to embrace mystery. Whether Charlie's essence continues in some unseen realm or lives on in the memories and actions Shi Heng Yi carries forward, the bond remains unbroken. For those grieving a beloved pet, he offers this reflection: your love was real, and it matters. It shaped you, and it shapes the world through the choices you make. Shi Heng Yi invites you to reflect on your own bonds with animals. What did they teach you? How do you keep their love alive? These questions aren't just about loss, they're about living fully, honoring the connections that give life meaning. The lessons from Charlie's life, joy, loyalty, presence, continue to guide Shi Heng Yi, reminding him that love is a force that transcends time. In this hope, he finds not only comfort, but a call to live with purpose, to cherish every moment, and to trust that the love we share with our animal companions is part of something far greater than ourselves.